Hello there. In this video we're going to look at auto layout in Figma, and I'm going to try and cover this within 10 minutes. So let's go. So I've got some items here, item 1, 2 and 3, and these are different frames with different colors that I've put on the canvas. So what I'm going to do is highlight all the frames, and then in the right hand panel where we've got auto layout, I'm going to click on the plus. Right, nothing seems to have happened, but it has applied an auto layout. And as you can see in the layers panel, it's wrapped everything in a frame. And what I'm going to do to that frame 1 is I'm going to rename that container. So I've got my container here, which has got my auto layout, as you can see in the right hand side, and all the items within it, they don't have auto layout, but they've got their individual colors as shown here. So I'm going to click on the container here, and to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to apply a background color of white so we can see what we're doing. So on the auto layout section here, we've got the following options. So we've got a vertical layout, which as you can see makes it vertical, or we've got a horizontal layout, which again makes it horizontal. The next box here, we've got horizontal space between the items. So if I increase or decrease this number, as you can see, that's expanding the space between the items. So let's make that 48. The next box we have is horizontal padding. So again, let's add that. It's 48, so it's adding some padding on the outsides, the left and the right. And I think we've got some vertical padding in the next one. So again, let's make this 48. So that's the top and the bottom. If you want to control each of these individually, you can click on this button here and you can have full control of the left, the top, the right, and the bottom. So I'm going to click on that again. Now, in the center here, we've got some different alignments. So to showcase this, I'm going to drag the container out a little bit. So it still has our auto layout applied. We've still got a spacing between it. We've still got our paddings on the side. And now if I go back to the layout, so currently we're aligned top left. If I do center, it centers, or align to the top right. And the same as we go down. So align right, align middle, align left, and then align bottom left, then centered, and bottom right. So that's how you can use those controls there. Okay, so now if I click on the advanced auto layout settings, we'll start off with spacing mode. So at the moment we're going packed, and that's 48 pixels between each of these items. If I change packed to space between, so it pushes everything out to the size of the container, and the spacing between each of these items is the same. The next option here is to do with strokes, so you can include them in the auto layout or exclude them. So for now I've excluded them from the auto layout. And the next one here is canvas stacking. So let me just hold option, drag down, make another example of this. So let's click on the container. I'm going to change this back to packed, and I'm going to change the space in between the items just so it's negative, so they overlap a little bit. And I'm going to give each of the items in the container, hold shift and click, and give them a stroke, and maybe you'll see this a bit better. So if I click on the container level, if I zoom out, so I'm clicked on the container, click on the 3 dots for the advanced options, canvas stacking. So at the moment, as you can see in the preview, I've got the last one on top, which is purple. Now if I go up here and go first on top, as you can see there's a slight change, but now it's pushed the red to be the first one on top. So last on top, purple, first one on top, red. And hopefully you can see that visually within this container. And as you can see here in the preview, you can either align the text to the baseline, or you can have that turned off. So just to let you know, auto layout only works when you're working with frames. So if I copy these items out here, drag them outside, if I drag over them, press Command G, I've now created a group here, but as you can see, you can't really use auto layout on a group. So when you click on the plus, it applies the auto layout and it actually changes that group to a frame. So I would always work in frames, because then it gives you the flexibility and gives you all these cool features that you have with auto layout. So to show you what auto layout can do, I'm going to show you desktop design here. We've got a menu at the top. This does not have auto layout applied. So as you can see, we've got a home here, and we've got some options here. They're wrapped in a group, and we've got the menu, then we've got the container, and we have got the desktop frame. All the spacing seems to be inconsistent between some of these options here. You know, the spacing around this element here, we've got 60 to the left, 40 at the top, 18 at the bottom. It's all a bit inconsistent. So using auto layout, let's see if we can tidy this up. So I'm going to duplicate that, so Alt and click, and I'm going to go into this design here. So on the top frame here, desktop design, I'm going to apply an auto layout. So it's currently set to hug, and that's the width of 1440. I'm now going to change the height to a fixed height, and I'm going to do that to 880 just to expand out the top level frame. Okay, I'm now going to click on the container, and I'm now going to click on auto layout. It's set to hug, horizontal. On vertical, I'm going to set it to fill. This container has a grey color, so as you can see, that's now filled the desktop design frame. Okay, I'm now going to click onto the menu, and just before I click auto layout, I'm going to set the horizontal to fill container, click on auto layout. So as you can see, that's applied an auto layout. If I hover some of these things, so we've got 60 as a horizontal padding, and the top and bottom is 18, so we've got some consistency here. The space between these items, the home and the options on the right, is 674. So what I want to do now with these options is I want to push them all the way to the right. So I'm going to click on our dots, change the spacing mode from packed to space between. So that pushes them over to the right, but it maintains our padding that we've set of 60 on each side. I'm now going to click into the options group, and I'm going to apply an auto layout. So that now changes the group into a frame, which is there. I can now control the horizontal spacing between each element. So I'm going to apply 80. And yeah, it just gives you a lot more control, a lot more consistency when you're applying your auto layouts. So auto layout on the top section, auto layout on the container, auto layout on the menu, and then within the menu I've got the home, and then I've got an auto layout on the options. So it gives you all the controls, so you can adjust, say for example, spacing between the options. If I go up to the menu and I want to expand the height, so the vertical padding, I can expand that bar, and it impacts all the other elements and keeps everything consistent as you're building out your design. So I hope these examples were helpful. Like and subscribe, add some comments, and I will see you in the next video.